Hey everyone, hope you are doing well and welcome back to another RC Explained video here this week. In this week's video, I'm going to show you how it's possible to RC everything. We are literally taking this track and all the rest of the pieces that is found within this set that I have, as well as the cars, and we're going to convert these so they can operate on the track as you see them, no modifications to the cars themselves. And we want to use radio control components to power these, as well as the transmitter to control everything. So that's right, we're going to be taking a typical radio controlled transmitter and we're going to get this to control the entire track and its cars that can be found on it. We're going to use this specific battery. It's a 6-cell lithium polymer battery pack, 5 amp hour. This should give us hours of use. And we're going to control all of this with an electronic speed control. Now I found this electronic speed control in my bin of parts. It hasn't been used for quite some time. It is extremely old. It is a Castle Creations Mamba Monster, probably one of the original ones, and I think I got it somewhere around 2010. It has been in many different radio-controlled vehicles and probably has been abused quite significantly. Going through the programming is the first thing that we got to do. Then I'm going to show you the layout as I have it set up right now, and then I'm going to show you the cars flying around the track. I'll give you a few different examples so you can see how that works. Let's head over to the computer so we can program that speed control and get those cars flying around the track. We now have the speed control connected up to the software, and it is the Mamba Monster ESC. We're going to go through the first few tabs here. We're going to start right at the top and go through it line by line to make certain that we have everything correctly selected. So the voltage cutoff. This is actually quite important because this speed control no longer recognizes the cell count when you plug it in. It is over a decade in age, and I guess this is just what happens when things get old. So I'm going to go and select no cutoff. I know this is going to be okay because we're not going to use more than about 500 milliamp hour for every hour of use. Therefore, we should have at least 3 hours, and as long as I make sure to charge the battery every 3 hours, this is going to be okay and totally fine. Without reverse, yeah, we don't need a reverse option on a slot car, motor direction, normal, motor type. This is where we have to go and select an option here, brush high power. I know I checked the wiring diagram. We're going to go with brushed reversing. This is the most simplistic wiring option. Brake amount, 80% is going to be good enough here. For us, we want to have a significant amount of braking. I may have to introduce drag brake later. We'll have to find out if that's going to be okay. Now let's move into the power tab. This is where we're going to have to perform a small calculation here. 22 divided by 25.4 is going to give us about 86.6%. Now where this comes from is 22 volts is what we're looking for. This is the original voltage that the original power supply provided. However, our lithium polymer 6-cell battery pack can deliver 25.4 at full charge, and I don't want to go and exceed that 22 volts. This way we're going to go through and provide a custom value here at 85. This way when we do have 25.4 volts, they will be derated to about 22 volts at maximum. That should be good. We can go ahead and update, and on to the next part. I'll show you exactly how the configuration and layout is going to look. Here's the pack that is directly wired to a meter, allowing us to measure voltage, current, as well as the milliamp hour consumption. It's connected directly to our speed control. From the speed control, we have power. That's the 5.5 volt back power going to the receiver, and the main output going to that track section that you see there. Here are the 5 cars that we have available to run, and you're going to be able to see them very shortly here ripping around the track as I go and throw one on for a couple laps each. Now if you're interested in seeing exactly how this is wired from the speed control to the track section, let me know and I can make a specific video on that. Now let's see these cars fly around the track. Alright, so here we go. If you heard that correctly, that is the arming sequence coming through the actual slot car from the track. Really cool to be able to hear that, just like you would with a typical brushless setup. Now this specific model of slot car is the Tyco NASCAR line. This specific model is the Haviland vehicle that I have here. Now there's nothing too special about this thing. It is kind of quick, but not really. in comparison to the lot of the other models that we have. So we'll swap that out for a Tyco 440X2 line. This is a lot quicker, definitely lighter, and allows you to hold more speed in the corners, and we'll be able to see that. In addition, what I'm trying to do is see how the braking function is working in these corners, which is why I slow it down a little bit too much in these corners. What I think I'm going to do is alter the settings so that I can get a little bit more braking action without needing to access it, which is going to be from that drag brake mode that we saw there on the programming screen. I swapped that car out here for the Domino's Pizza model. Again, it's from the 440X2 line. It's essentially the same. This one is missing a tire, oddly enough, and that might be the reason why. You'll see what happens here in a second. The tires tend to dry out, which is why they crack, and I don't have any replacements for now. This model here is the Tommy AFX Super G Plus. This is definitely one of the quickest models that I know exist in slot cars in this specific class. Look at this thing fly. Stay tuned for more videos like this where we take things that aren't RC and we convert them over to radio controlled using radio controlled components. In addition, a small update for those of you who are following the 100 mph limitless build using this monster of a motor. I've had trouble trying to bring in a spur gear, and I think I have it nailed down now. I should be getting that quite soon. I already have the pinion gear, but the trouble has been with that spur gear. The reason I have to get such a fancy spur gear is because we have to tune down or tone down the performance that we could essentially access from this monster of a motor. That will allow us to actually hit the 100 mph goal, as this motor will easily do 150 plus. So stay tuned for that. That's also coming down the pipeline as well. As always, like the video if you do. Don't forget to hit that sub button, and I'll see you in the next one.